Greetings, greetings, greetings. Good to see you all. I'm a little early. I thought I was going to be over here at 8. But I'm not. The beautiful Mrs. Moore is here. Rosterman. Hi, Mrs. Moore. Carol is here. G-Bra is here. Quaylen is here. Exabir. Dinner time. Old Powers here. XYZ is here. Rosterman is here. Yeah, I'm representing Chicago, Illinois. Alexis is here. Hey, Alexis. Ren is here. Mohammed Ma, number 69, Birmingham, Alabama. So let's get it. Sunday evening. Oh boy. Well, my intentions was to watch Minister Farrakhan speak tonight, then come and break down what he said, but he was not there. He did not speak tonight. Which is good because, to be honest, it would have been kind of selfish to have him up there because the last Savior's Day last year, he was, it was rough on him. He pulled it off, but it's a lot. So now I got to give a critique based on what I saw. Rosterman said it wasn't talking about anything today. Basically, I got a lot of respect for Minister Louis Farrakhan. We had the Black Power, Black is Beautiful movement in the 60s. And then we had a Black conscious awakening in the 80s that he played a major part in that. So with him and reggae music, really did a lot in the 80s. The whole consciousness was built basically off of Nation of Islam and Rasta. And then, you had everybody else holding it up. Hebrew Israelites was holding things together. Kemetic brothers like myself, although I'm Kemetic and Rasta. Nations of Gods and Earth, probably on the East Coast of New York, not so much Chicago and all across the other way. But the main two entities was Minister Farrakhan and Rasta with the reggae music. The reggae music allowed that made the festivals and the black gatherings bigger because now you had a pro-black entertainment, something we didn't really never have like that. So you had a pro-black entertainment. So that was a good thing. Good to see you, Malik. And so, yeah, I've been going hard a little bit on the Nation of Islam, Minister Farrakhan, but I got love for Minister Farrakhan, don't get me wrong. But I still criticize certain things. I mean, my criticisms, I would tell them to him if I got to sit around him. Well, not now I wouldn't because, he's really elderly now and, I wouldn't say anything right now. But any other time he was younger and I had the opportunity, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I had the opportunity to tell him what I think about the direction the nation is I'm going. I would have told him I don't like the direction myself. But we're going to talk about it. Hit that like button, share, subscribe. Yeah. I mostly was watching to see Minister Farrakhan. I know he was older. I wanted to see how he was going to pull it off. I thought last Savior's Day, he missed the mark. He was talking about Gaza, and he really didn't talk about black people in America. He just kept talking about Gaza and the Egyptians and the Syrians and the Palestinians, and so then what about us? I think the Nation of Islam with Elijah Muhammad and pushing for black people to have their own businesses and to do for self, I think that helped keep I think that helped keep the Nation of Islam grounded. But now I think they're just all over the place because they're not pushing black economical development. They haven't been pushing that. Like, I didn't grow up with him, but I was around him when they first came here to put the nation back together. So when they first came here, you heard the brother today speaking. He said 1977. That was the year I got out of high school. But I had I had friends when I was a senior. I had friends that was junior, and I had a friend that was a sophomore because he was like a big sophomore and he played basketball. And so even though you get out of high school, you're still hanging with your friends. And the one friend that was a sophomore, he was a really great basketball player. He transferred from the school we went to the South Shore, and there he became friends with Wallace, who's now known as Mustafa. And so, yeah, we used to all be over at that brother's house, and Wallace would be over there. And I was already into some type of black consciousness. Everybody else was just regular young people. And so I used to just be really interested and sit around Wallace, and he'd be just telling me, we about to put the nation back together and all this, and tell me about his father. And in those days, used to be outside and people would be giving out pamphlets, and I used to have pamphlets and writings and stuff. So One day I was at home looking at some of the writing somebody had gave me, and it said Minister Louis Farrakhan at the bottom. I said, "Oh, this Wallace daddy." So I got the papers, and when I went back to our friend's house, our mutual friends over there, like, "Man, I got your daddy's papers, man." It's you know what I'm saying? Good to see you, Kathy. So I was like, "I got your daddy's papers." So when I heard the brother tonight talk about 1977, I had flashbacks about that. And when they put the nation back together, I went to that Savior's Day. You know, I went to that Savior's Day. It was good. It was fire, really, because you had Prince Aziel there from the Hebrew Israelites spoke. Father Clemens from the Catholic Church spoke. Man, it was fire. Oh, man, it was really fire. Especially Khalid. Whoa. You know, imagine me. I'm like 19. Now I'm like 19. No, because it took them a couple years before they got it going. So I'm like 20 because I had my dreadlocks. So I'm like 20 going on 21, somewhere in there. So it's like 1978, 79. I'm young. I'm 20 years old, 21. And man, I'm 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 seeing this dude named Khalid Muhammad. That's all I can tell you. You know what I'm saying? That's all I can tell you. So of course it's going to be hard to duplicate those days because Khalid would speak right before Farrakhan. Woo. Wow. I could not believe what Khalid was up there saying. It was a real experience because me and my queen went. When we got there, they told my queen she got to go this way, I got to go that way. We couldn't sit together. Like the women sat in one section and the men in another section. So it was an experience. There was a bunch of powerful speakers too. Whew. Prince Aziel from the Hebrew Israelites over there in Israel. They got Soul Veg. He spoke fire. Father Clemens, fire. And then Khalid, and then Minister Farrakhan. That's how I knew Minister Farrakhan was a dynamic speaker. You got to be dynamic to speak behind Khalid. I don't know. I don't really do religion. Okay. To me, religion, for black people, religion is horrible because we need unity and everybody's going to be in a different religion. It's just a mess. So I don't like religion. Religion is definitely negative for black Americans. It's something you should keep at home. When you come outside, be a black person. Don't be no Christian. Don't be no Muslim. Don't be nothing. Be black. Be my brother. Be my sister. All that religious stuff. Like different versions of Christianity. That's all it is. It's like Christianity, just calling it something different. It's horrible. You know what I'm saying? So today, I'm watching, I'm trying to see Farrakhan, and then I'm waiting, and they got a speaker, then they had a sister speak, right? And then they had this brother speak, who I can't stand listening to him, but he was speaking. And then he let us know he's going to be the speaker, that Farrakhan's not going to be there. So this is the minister Ishmael. And I was going to come over at 8, but once I seen him speaking and listen for a little while, I said, well, I might as well go now, because I'm not going to listen to all of this. He's horrible. And it was real disappointing. It's really disappointing. Like the Nation of Islam has just basically Christians just saying Allah instead of Jesus, but it's just basically Christianity. That's it. It was like, you might as well, it was the same as the church. Coming up, when we was coming up, one of the things that made the Nation of Islam powerful is it wasn't like the church. It wasn't like Christianity. That Elijah was talking about economical development and all of this. But the new Muslims, they just Christians. They're just Islamic Christians. They don't be talking about doing nothing. It's all submitting to Allah. It's just praying, and that's it. That's not going to do anything for black people. Nothing. That's going to do nothing. I had a brother, he said, Islam is growing. Islam is growing because of the prison system. Brothers are becoming Muslims in prison. They're not becoming Muslims because of nothing righteous. They're becoming Muslims because they be uneducated. They don't have no knowledge. They don't become productive fathers, productive husbands, and they go to prison. And a lot of times they go to prison to avoid the smoke. They link up with the Muslims for protection. And then they're in there under bad circumstance, so they convert to Islam. They become some Christians, because that's all that is Christianity. It's straight Christianity. There's no difference. If Elijah Muhammad was teaching the type of Islam they're teaching now, the Nation of Islam would have failed. It never would have went anywhere. The power of the Nation of Islam was about black economics and do for self. Once you take away black economics and you take away the idea of doing for self, you ain't talking about nothing. Getting on your knees praying, wrapping up your head with wraps. All these things is worthless. Because a man could talk religion, but you can't see his heart, and he could still be the same demon. So all that religious talk, I ain't trying to hear none of it. I don't believe you. Because with all this religion, why is the world so messed up? What has religion done for this world? Nothing. We do have some people at some churches trying to feed some people and things like that. But as far as the outreach, especially in the black community, it's horrible. Yeah, Booker T, but we don't know Booker T. You know what I'm saying? So he didn't teach me nothing. See what I'm saying? So Booker T didn't teach me anything. I'm talking about people that was actually here. And I was a little boy, and my dad used to, Elijah used to come on the radio. Now, as far as them people way back then, somebody taught us what they were supposed to teach us, but we didn't get no direct information from them. George Washington Carver, Booker T, all of them. They was just like historical figures. Whatever they was trying to persuade to us when we was growing up, they never promoted that. You know what I'm saying? Ivy Dream. So when we was coming up in school, they only told us who they were. They never really taught us what they stood for or told us to stand for what they stood for. So it's like if I teach you about Marcus Garvey, I say Marcus Garvey was trying to have his own schools and this and that. That's not going to help you unless I say you need to do like Marcus Garvey. So if I don't transfer what Marcus Garvey used to do to you, then it's just historical what he did. And it won't materialize into doing nothing now. And so that's why, even though Elijah Muhammad talked a lot about doing for self, and they're under Islam, when we go to the gas station, the people that's under Islam ain't them. I'm sure Elijah wouldn't like that. Elijah wouldn't like that. Our gas stations is controlled by Muslims. Are they religious and kind and loving and spreading the holy word of Allah and brotherhood in our neighborhoods? No. There's nothing religious about those gas stations. Nothing at all. And so today, unless they get a miracle, the Nation of Islam is finished. One thing about Farrakhan, when he took over, he was his own self. He wasn't a Malcolm X. He wasn't an Elijah Muhammad. He was a Farrakhan. But after hearing this guy today, you could see he was trying to talk like Farrakhan. He was trying to say that this guy right here, he was trying to talk like Farrakhan. If you know anything about entertainers, stuff like that, they do the whole preacher thing. And then we're going to go as he says, they do this whole dramatical way of talking to try to hype you up and don't really be saying nothing. And he was out there, he had it down. You could tell he'd been listening to tapes, but it wasn't authentic. It was phony. And then Job, and when Job, bro, we don't want to hear nothing about Job, bro. We don't want to hear nothing about Job. We don't want to hear nothing about Noah. Bro, we don't want to hear that. You know what I'm saying? With the colorism, I mean, there is a lot of colorism over there. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of colorism over there. But the teachings, that our hair used to be straight and something we did wrong, and that's why it's nappy. And, a lot of that stuff that they said Farad said is totally nonsense, okay? Totally. I'm not going to let no dude from the Middle East come over here and try to tell us that our hair wasn't like this. Dude, if you don't get out of here, you know what I'm saying? Boy, if you don't go back to the Middle East where you came from, with all due respect. That's why I can't hardly talk, because I get in trouble if I tell y'all the truth. The internet is very difficult for me because we live in a fake world and the truth is an offense. You know what I mean? So I can't even really, I'm not really comfortable telling the truth because, oh, you don't tell your truth. I can't tell my truth the way I see it. You got to be politically whack and, politically correct. But it was horrible. It's sad to see the Nation of Islam turn to a Christian church. When I went to Savior's Day, they wasn't nothing like they are now. They're just Christians. They don't teach you nothing out the Quran. They always talk about the Bible. They don't teach you nothing out the Quran. Nothing. They don't teach you none of the stories out the Quran. Never. Every story they tell is out the Bible. Y'all ain't noticed that? You go read the Quran and see all those stories and you go, dang man, why they don't tell no stories out the Quran. They never say turn to the Quran here, turn to the Quran there. They don't do that. They be always talking about Bible characters. Now, Bible characters are in the Quran, but they don't talk about diversion from the Quran. They be talking about the Bible. He was talking about Noah, and when everything is said in the Bible, that's what he was talking about. I said, well, amen, brother. How, I was like, what is this? The decline didn't start in the 80s. They were strong in the 80s. They grew. The Nation of Islam grew all the way to 2000. There wasn't no decline. G-Rod wasn't no decline because it had already fell. When Elijah left, his son took over, and his son messed everything up. So when Farrakhan came in 78, 79, that's when it grew again. So the Nation of Islam grew like crazy in the 80s. It really did. It grew in the 80s. It was still growing in the 90s. It was still growing in the 90s. Then when you start getting to the 2000s and dealing with Scientology and the ones in the Muslims in Africa, Asia, and the Middle East, they ain't no better. They ain't no better. Religions are some of the worst things could ever happen to people because religions don't represent no type of unity. Religions represent separation. Religions do not benefit people, none. They split people up. That's all they do. They split people up. That's all they do. Religions are horrible because they don't represent unity. They won't get together. Okay? How many gods is it? If it's one God, why y'all got all these religions? Y'all can't get together and figure this out and come with one ideology for all the people in the world. All right, then, no, they can't even talk to me. You're supposed to be the righteous people, but you can't even get together. Religion, whether you keep it silent or not, religion is the worst thing. That's how you know religion does not come from God. According to the philosophy, religion comes from Lucifer and is used to divide the world. according to this book right here, according to this, religion is controlled by Lucifer and is used to divide the world up into four. That's what it is. It's right in front of your face, but nobody want to look at it. Okay, let's look in Gaza. That's Judaism versus Islam. How many people died? Those are both religions. Listen, Gaza, Israel, Palestinians and Israelis, those are both religious people. Their whole life is religion. Everybody that's Israeli got to be under Judaism, and every Palestinian got to be a Muslim. How's that working out? Where is their gods? Where is all this righteousness? They can't work that out. Should you believe in God? I want to ask you something. Should you love a God but hate your neighbor? Should you run after a God you can't see, but don't do nothing for people you see every day? Because I could have swore that's what Christ said. I could have swore that Christ said, how could you love a God you ain't never met and never see, but hate your neighbor? I could swear. So what good is religion when Christians don't practice what Christ said? Christians don't do nothing Christ told them to do. That's a fact. Christians don't do anything that Christ told them to do. They don't do nothing Christ did. Nothing. They're not trying to heal the sick. They're not trying to do nothing. They ain't trying to do nothing. Good to see your potential. I'm just telling you. What you need a religion for? What do you need a religion for? So you don't know you're not supposed to kill nobody, you're not supposed to steal and all that. You need a religion to tell you that? I just want to know. You need a religion to tell you don't kill nobody, don't steal from nobody. You need a religion for that to be a decent human being? I just want to know. You need a religion to be a decent person? You know, when I was watching, I wasn't listening to, I was looking at the eyes of the brothers, and if you could read their minds, there was no love in that group. Race is not a divider because race can only be divided using religion. Religion is the only divider. If you don't have religion, you don't have politics. You're not going to be interested in politics or race. Religion is the problem. If you look at slavery and what happened to Black Americans, that was all done under Christianity. Those was Christians. That's a fact. There was Christians initiated racism. Racism didn't initiate Christianity. It was the other way around. That's a fact. They definitely was Christians. The Ku Klux Klan is a Christian organization, man. Y'all need to go study. Yeah, don't worry about him. If he know too much, I'll make him come back tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? What you mean by believe in Jesus? What does that mean? I don't know what believe in Jesus means. What does that mean? Do I believe in Jesus? Like, what does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean, believe in Jesus? What does that mean? I don't know what that means. He's out of his league because his name wasn't even Jesus. So that's why, you know what I'm saying? You got to really step your game up if you know. That's why when they come over here, they need to just be quiet and listen. Because if you don't know his name wasn't Jesus, you should just be listening. You understand? You should just be listening. Christ is a title. That's not his name either. And he's got like a whole bunch of names. Because your name changes every time you go to a different country, you got a different name. But yeah, I was like, it was a shame. It was kind of bad. You know what I mean? It was kind of sad because you could see, you could see the Nation of Islam is struggling. They got up there and said, they say the Nation of Islam is falling. I knew right then they was falling, or you wouldn't have said that. So it was not. I wasn't happy to see the way things was going. It's definitely going downhill. When I went to the first Savior's Day, they were doing great. They were bringing the nation back because, you know, Elijah's son messed up. Wallace D messed up all their money. All that money they built all them years, he took over and messed everything up. They lost the schools, the colleges, the markets, everything under Wallace D. And then Farrakhan came and at least got something going. But what happened is when Farrakhan came and took over, now inflation is happening. So you ain't able to buy now what you bought under Elijah. So all that stuff you lost under Elijah, imagine the value of that property now. So they were sitting on $1 billion worth of property at least that got lost, and now you ain't gonna be able to. They never was able to get back to where they was in the '60s. They was never able to get back. But he did do a good job to at least keep the mosques open and keep some of the mosques open, but they never did get back. I live in Chicago, and so all those restaurants, salam restaurants, and all them things closed because there used to be like Muslim eating spots everywhere. I had just started to go vegan, So I was switching over, getting off the pork, getting off the beef. So I used to go and get my fish. That's back when I used to eat fish like 78. 78, 79, when I'm trying to convert. I think 70, 78 mostly. And the Muslim brothers helped me, with the whiting fish and the ocean perch. And, I had to get knowledge from them on how to eat. But slowly, the effort to get more black people in, and they know most black people come up under Christianity. So they started doing like this pseudo Christianity type thing. And then it got worse and worse and worse. And now they didn't got so, as a matter of fact, when Farrakhan first put it together, there was like two other groups and they was going against him because they said he wasn't standing on what Elijah was teaching, which he wasn't. And then they just got further and further and further away from the teachings of Elijah Muhammad. So now the young ones, they don't know nothing about the teachings of Elijah Muhammad. So they all coming up, they just Christians. They just like Muslim Christians. It was just like church. I couldn't watch it. I was like, they turn like this dude is just like just doing the same thing the church been doing. You leave there, you ain't gonna be on nothing. When you get a group of black people together, you need to be talking to them about working together and building. You don't need to be talking to them about no weird religious ideologies where they all just gonna go back home as individuals. When you get us together in a group, put us to work. When you get a group of black people, put some knowledge on us so we can leave there and work together. Because religion ain't gonna do no good separately. Religion ain't no good for black people. You ain't got no car. You a Christian, you a Muslim, but you in a Ford, you in a Chevy, you in a Cadillac, you in a Benz. You don't even got your own car. You ain't got nothing. And then you want to talk religion. Somebody want to come over here and ask me 100 questions about some religion. I can't feed my kids with no religion. I can't feed my grandchildren with that. I can't pay no bills with no religion. Religion want me to give them money. The first thing they did was start collecting money. And even that was low. It wasn't coming in like that. When I first went to Savior's Day, they had money. They used to rent big halls and have it. But over the years, the places got smaller and smaller. Until this year, they didn't get no place. They had some big old tents out there in that parking lot, and they got as many people as they can get in the mosque, and the rest of them was out there in them tents. Because the economics ain't economicing. You know what I'm saying? It's going to dry up because it's religion, and the young people don't want to hear that. Nobody want to hear that but a few brainwashed people or people that had a hard life. Sometimes people have a hard life. They got to go home and, yes, the Lord, and yes, Allah, or yes, they got to go home and do that to try to talk themselves out of whatever's going on in their life. So, God is like a make-believe friend. You don't want to be talking to yourself, which is what you're doing. So you pretend you're talking to God. Basic psychologically. You down and out. You try to talk yourself out of being down and out. You know what I'm saying? So you be like, God gonna pick me up. God gonna, you know what I'm saying? You say God gonna do all that stuff. And everybody in the world saying that at the same time. God's probably busy picking all y'all up. It's a ridiculous concept that God gonna just come and help Pharaoh. It's billions and billions and billions and zillions of people on this planet. And God is gonna come help me and all them all at the same time. Isn't that amazing? And they say, Pharaoh, you blasphemy. God is great. Okay, if God is great, then why would God make me where I need God? Couldn't God, if God is great, wouldn't God make you where you don't need God? Because if God made me where I need God, God ain't great. Because if I was God and I made you, you wouldn't, I'd make you so you ain't got to. Let me tell you something. You got children. Do you raise your children to have to come back and keep asking you for money? Do you raise your children to need you? No. You raise your children to be independent, to be able to take care of themselves. But for some kind of way, God don't raise nobody to be independent. God needs you to keep crying to God. You know what I'm saying? It's the craziest. You know what I mean? What's going on? Loopy G, good to see you. Think about it. And no matter what you say about God, God can't come and say you lying. I didn't say that. You know what I'm saying? So you can lie on God all day. God ain't going to come correct you. So you can just say anything. Put it all on God. Let me see something. How many people are on Earth? Okay. So there's 8.062 billion people on Earth. So it's 8 billion people on the Earth. And if we all, 8 billion of us, pray right now, God will hear it. Will God hear all 8 billion of our prayers and answer them? I'm just asking. I'm asking for a friend. Okay, look, let's keep it a Billy. No, let's keep it a Billy. 8 billion 0.062 people. That was in 2003, 23. Now you telling me that if 8 billion people pray right now, God hears all them prayers and gonna answer 8 billion 0.062, and 62 is some millions prayers. Y'all believe that? Y'all believe that? So yeah, I watched it. It was horrible. This guy right here, he kept trying to do Farrakhan impersonations. He was doing the voice things, you know. I could do it. I could rob y'all. I could have a church. I could have one of the biggest churches. You know, you got to know how to do it. So you just go start off soft, and you know the Lord is with you, and He's trying to bring you up, and He feel your heart, and He feel your pain, and He feel what you've been through. God is with you. He feel what you've been through, and when you down, God will pick you up. You know, I do that. Boom, you're gonna go for it. You know what I'm saying? Then I get to holler a little bit, then I bring it back down. Ooh, boom, then I holler some more. And then Moses said to him, and he said it, and I will be with you. And y'all be out there, yes, brother, preach, brother. You know what I'm saying? I see Sister Pat out there getting the Holy Ghost. She looking kind of good. I'm gonna have to put hands on her. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have to. Y'all don't know. And they be people like me But you got to know how to do it. I could do it. Oh, man, I could have a big, huge church if I just was evil. If I was evil enough to pull it off, I could have a huge church. Because if I got a church, I can't tell you you're fine because then you won't come back. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta be messed up so you come back. You gotta need me. I can't tell you you don't need me. Go out there and live a good life. No, you who will come back to church. So I gotta preach in a way where you gotta keep coming back to hear the word. You say, how do we? Well, we not a we. So we not a we. So we can't break nothing. We not a we. You just you. You can't get nobody, you know what I'm saying? I can't get nobody to break nothing. Those are the best generation. I ain't seen no best generation. The best generation is the youngest generation. Is the best. Every generation is great. Every generation is great, and every generation plays a role. So there is no best or whatever. If I'm 5 and my big brother's 14, when mommy and daddy go out, we got somebody to watch us. So I'm playing my role as a baby. He playing his role as a big brother, watching me and my sister. Mommy and daddy older, they playing their role because they providing. So everybody play a role. So it ain't no like greater, less greater. Ain't none of that. It's all the same. Ain't no greater generation, less great. That's not real. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no greater, ain't no lesser. It's a whole constant system. If you need everybody, if you ain't got babies, you ain't got no elders. Elders used to be babies. So it's like if I say one generation is great, look how many generations I lived through already. I lived through the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, 2000. So what I'm gonna say, was I greater in the 70s than I was? See, it gets crazy. How can I be greater in the 70s than I am now? Yeah, he's horrible. That's one of Farrakhan's son, Elijah. Yeah, I never did was around Elijah. I was only around Nut, rest in peace to Nut, and Mustafa. At the time, name was Wallace. I wasn't around Elijah. Well, he need to sit down because he ain't got what his daddy got. Yeah, he need to sit down. Nuri would have did a better job, but it's a lot of funny style stuff go with those organizations. You know what I mean? A lot of the brothers that deserve the spot, they ain't gonna get it. It's gonna get passed. You know how that. If you dark skinned, you definitely ain't getting a spot. You ain't getting a spot if you dark skinned. A lot of colorism over there. You know what I'm saying? Because the whole teaching, you know what I'm saying? The teaching, the teaching from Farad is that our hair is nappy because something wrong with us. And we used to be light skinned with straight hair. And we fell and we got black and nappy. Basically. I gotta go to my boy house. He got a collection of all the final calls. I gotta go ask him, let me have that. Man, let me have that. You old, ain't nobody gonna want it. When you pass away, you're finally gonna throw it out. You know, it was mad at Farrakhan when I was out in L.A. because he came out there and he was talking one time. He told the ladies, he said, "Y'all know y'all like a handsome light skinned man like me." Brothers was mad. Whew. Yeah, Dr. York took all that stuff and threw it together. Like if you know that the teachings is all over the place. It don't make no sense though. Yeah, it don't make no sense. All the religions is just made up nonsense. Christianity, Buddhism, Hinduism, all that stuff is nonsense. Bobo Shanti. They trying to make Rasta religion. You know, Rasta wasn't no doggone religion. Rasta not no religion, but they trying to make it a religion. So, you know, it was a time where you couldn't compare us to everybody else. There wasn't no religion. We ain't do no praying and had no church and all that. But the Bobo Shanti, now they done put on them robes and got them temples and now they making up all kind of crazy ideologies. You know what I'm saying? Trying to turn it into a religion. Everything just keep changing and going down. So now Orthodox Muslims is grabbing all the brothers and Nation Islam ain't even getting them because they up in the prison. You know what I'm saying? They up in the prison and the county jails and they taking the brothers, converting them to Arabic religion, basically. But it was really sad though because I wanted to see Farrakhan, but you know, I don't think he's going to be speaking anymore. And they're probably trying to see who's going to take over, you know. But unless they go back to do for self, if they keep doing this church stuff, they're going to crash. Right now, we got a big thing, big brother, like a lot of brothers join, going into Islam, they'll quit. They'll do it for so long, then they'll be right back regular dudes. Because you got people be joining stuff because it'd be like the new thing. So they'll go and a bunch of people will join it and it'll pop off for about 4 or 5 years and then they'll quit. What about Noble Drew Ali? Same thing. We don't have nobody, Andre, trying to get us on no type of economics. Everybody's trying to take our economics, but nobody trying to get us to get on economics. So everywhere you go, they want to take collection, take collection, take collection. But they ain't putting no money in our pocket or talking about how we can get some money as a nation. You know what I'm saying? You know, you get a whole bunch of Christians or a whole bunch of black Muslims, and they all got iPhones. Where's our phone? They all in every car. We don't make none of them. Everybody drove to Savior's Day in a car we don't make. And I know for sure if Elijah Muhammad seen who ran these gas stations in the black community, he'd be pissed. There's no way Elijah would like anything that's going on. No way. Because Elijah was a Garveyite. Elijah was a Garveyite. He was pushing the Marcus Garvey philosophy. For real. Because them dudes, they knew about Garvey, and they elders listened to Garvey. Like Malcolm's daddy and them, they was Garveyites. You know what I'm saying? So it's like distorting Elijah. So that's why I'm not happy with it. Because it's like they ain't giving Elijah his due. Like Elijah was due for self. Do for yourself. Build yourself. The whole idea of the Nation of Islam was they was doing for self. It wasn't about the religion. It was about the fact we'll build our own temples and have our own religion. We black Muslims. We not Muslims. We black Muslims. So they what with Elijah, it wasn't about the Nation of Islam. It was about doing for self. The Nation of Islam represented doing for self. That's what it represented. It didn't represent religion. So Elijah used to speak, he used to be talking about what black folks was going through and what we have to do, how we got to take care of ourselves and how we got to eat right and how we got to have our family strong and stuff like that. That's what Elijah used to be talking about. So powerful. Come on, man. Elijah was talking some powerful stuff. You ever notice they don't let you hear none of his conversations? Because Elijah wasn't talking about don't ride the bus. Elijah was talking about let's buy buses. Let's put our money together. Okay, Ali, come over here and box for us. Don't box for them. He wanted all the singers and boxers and athletes to come and work out of the Nation of Islam and fund the Nation of Islam. Okay. Now they don't show none of his speeches, man. Dude was on fire. And so over the years, it got further and further and further and further away. This is my Instagram. Hit me up. You know what I'm saying? So I was just really sad because Farrakhan. One thing about Farrakhan, he still would have spoke on something we going through, and this guy just didn't. He just dropped the ball altogether. Now the last Savior's Day, I just did not like it because Farrakhan never talked about black people, and I thought I was offended. He kept talking about Gaza and he kept talking about their problem over there. He never addressed what's going on with us, and that's the problem with religion. Religion is a problem. Because it's not a unifier. And it don't help you Monday through Saturday. It just help you on Sunday. It don't really help us build. You know what I'm saying? I can't do religion because, it don't help us build or nothing like that. When you really know God or Allah or Jehovah, you know you don't need them. So if you don't know you don't need them, you don't know them. Because you undercutting your God, saying my God made me so weak, I got to keep bothering God. So What kind of God you got that's so weak that he make you so weak that you got to constantly be talking to God? That don't even make no sense. Why would God make you need God? Why wouldn't God make you to think on your own and do what you need to do? God make you like a lap dog, huh? You got to be on God's lap every day. And they teach you this stuff. So now when I say this, you scared you're going to go to hell. You scared. You're going to say it's blasphemy. But you don't even know the Bible because that's why they killed Christ for saying what I'm saying. They killed Christ because Christ was saying exactly what I was saying. And they said it was blasphemy. Because he was like, do for yourself. And they like, you can't say that. They're like when they worship the Sabbath, if they cow fall in the ditch, they leave it in there until after the Sabbath. Christ say, y'all crazy, go get the cow out the ditch. You know, they say, oh, you can't. They say it's blasphemy. Because he was anti-religion. He wasn't doing no religion, and they wanted him to do religion, the Pharisees and the Sadducees. So now it's not just religion. I was watching, I was getting sick. That was making me want to throw up. It sounds just like Christian church. Like, oh, they didn't turn to some Christians. You know, you got to think think about me. I went way back in let me see, I think that was 79. That was 81. That was 1981. Yep, because I had my dreadlocks started growing in 78. So yes, in 80, yeah. So my locks was about 3 years old. Yep. And that next year I left Chicago. Yep. That was 1981. I went to Savior's Day. You know what I mean? I went to Savior's Day. And that Savior's Day was like do for self. Like it was powerful. He had all the religions in there. He had everybody there to just talk to black people. He wasn't doing no religious stuff. He had uh, the father from the Catholic Church, Clemens. He was a real powerful black brother. He had Prince Aziel from the Hebrew Israelites spoke, and then he had Khalid speak. So it was like some unity type, like what we gonna do and what we gonna do as black people. It wasn't a whole bunch of what Jesus did and all that. I don't remember them talking about all that. They were just talking about us sticking together, us building, where we going, and stuff like that. But then Farrakhan started speaking at other places, and he started speaking in these churches, and he was speaking to a lot of people that wasn't Muslims. So now he started breaking down the Bible, and he started talking to the Bible, because I seen him at one of these AME churches one time, right? So he became bigger than the nation. So he had to start talking to everybody, but he got lost. He got lost doing that, and he never recovered. And he just went further and further out there. And he never recovered, and he never got back to do for self. And you think about it, we haven't been do for self since Elijah Muhammad. And that's why black people in America, that's why we in the situation we in. We in a bad situation because we ain't doing for self. It's like everybody doing for their own individual self, but we ain't doing for self as a group. And what happens when y'all go out here and y'all go do everything individually, and then somebody get in there like a Trump or something, and you lose all them jobs. Now you haven't built no foundation to go back to, because you thought Biden and Trump and all these people was going to take care of you, and they not. Because when things get tight, they're going to get them jobs to their people. You understand? Basically. So now the churches is falling, because if you ain't doing it for self, you ain't gonna be able to take care of the babies, and the babies gonna grow up and they're gonna be turning to crime. They're gonna be trying to get it how they live. They're not gonna do good at school. So now the babies ain't on nothing. They go to prison and become Muslims in prison, and they come out talking that stuff. Here in Chicago, we got brothers. They talking about they pushing peace. They saying they Muslim and they still making drill records. Talking about shooting everybody. It's all over the place. You know what I'm saying? We got brothers in Chicago talking about they Muslims and they ain't doing nothing righteous. They just saying that. It's crazy. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It's just crazy. We do everything other than work together. Instead of me knowing what religion you are, I need to know what your skill is. What do you do so that we can network? Your religion is not going to pay no bills. That's why when you go to the church, they're asking you for money. Think about it. If you wasn't out there getting money, you can't keep the mosque or the church even open. It reminds me, I used to go to Lutheran church because my parents sent me to a Lutheran school, so they made us go to church. And so one day at church, me and my friend Wayne, the preacher came to us and said, "Y'all want a job?" And we like, "A job?" "Yeah." He said, "Okay, come here." He took us downstairs and he showed us these envelopes from collection. And he said, "You take this out of here, you put the dollars over here, you put the checks right here, you put the change right here. Cool, we got a job." We do it the first day. We do it the next week. By the third week, we wonder where our money at. We ain't gonna pay us. So I go to the preacher and I say, "So when we gonna get paid?" He said, "Oh, I thought you'd do it out the goodness of your heart." Dude, why you ask us, do we want a job? Because people get paid on a job. See, it's the snake stuff. Instead of him telling me, "Do y'all want to volunteer to count the money?" So I can say, "No, I'm finna go and watch Dr. J. I ain't counting no money." So he gonna tell us after the third week, do it out the kindness of our heart. So out the kindness of my heart, I started taking money, putting it in my pocket. I got paid and then I quit. I got me about $60. I was a shorty too. $60 is a lot of money. So I opened a couple letters and took a 20 twin and put it in my pocket. You know what I'm saying? In the name of Jesus, I took that money. And Jesus rebuked that liar. You know what I'm saying? He told me I had a job. Boy, stop playing with me. Lucky I was righteous because I just took what I think he owed me, right? A lot of people would have just kept doing the job and robbed him, but I ain't no thief. So I wasn't stealing. I was liberating my salary. You know what I'm saying? So after I took about $60, I didn't come back no more. I took the $60 out the goodness of my heart. Boy, stop playing with me. He the preacher. He got a free house next door. The parishioners got to pay whatever bills he got at the house. The house connected to the church. Boom. They had to sell that church and everything. They went broke after so many years. You know what I'm saying? Man, listen, he was playing. You know what I'm saying? All he had to do was be honest. Don't trick us and have us sitting there thinking you're going to pay us and we got to ask you when you're going to pay us. You're like, oh, I do it out the goodness of your heart. Bro, you should have just said, do you want to sit here and do this out the goodness of your heart? So I could have told him, hey, man, listen, no. You know what I'm saying? No, and Miss Dr. J, I can't. I can't. Listen, I was like in seventh or eighth grade, right? Now let me make that make some sense. When I grew up, my parents moved to 116th and Aberdeen. We 7 years old. We get a rake. We get a big plastic garbage can. We ring the neighbor's door. Can we rake? You want us to rake your leaves? Yeah, y'all go ahead. Rake the leaves. They give us some money. We go to the next house. You want us to rake your leaves or wash your car or something? Yeah, wash my car, rake my leaves. We do everything. We get us some dollars. We go to the candy store. We get some popcorn, some potato chips, some candy. We go in back of my house or somebody's house. They got a table in the back, and we have a party. We go ask and raise money. Back then, a bottle, a pop bottle was 5 cents for every one. So we would pick up bottles and turn them in like we worked and we got paid. So of course, when he asked me, do I want a job? I'm thinking in the terms of everybody else paid me. I've been getting paid since I was a little boy. I've been getting paid. Even my mom and daddy paid me. I got an allowance. So who is this dude? Oh, did he? So yeah, I watched it. I was disappointed because I wanted to see how Farrakhan was doing. That's my man. I love Minister Farrakhan. That's my man. But I'll criticize him. But I still got love for him. You know what I'm saying? I got love for him. But they totally ruined the Nation of Islam. They're gonna go broke. They got that big salon restaurant. It's empty. I don't know. It's built in the wrong area. Where it's built at is dead over there. Nobody gonna go over there for dinner. Down there on 79th Street, down there dark by where the train go over. And like, bro, why y'all invested it right here? The location is horrible. So they ain't had no business savvy. You know what I'm saying? And that's where religion is bad because you might not be able to find nobody in your religion to do the business. You might have to get somebody who ain't got no religion or somebody that's a Christian or something to do the business. You got to get whoever can do the business. You can't expect nobody in your religion to be able to do everything. High part. No, what they should have did, they should have put it right there by the mosque. They should have bought that land across the street that was moo and oink. They should have bought that. They should have put it on 79th Street. I mean on Stony Island. Somewhere on Stony Island. Man, so right after that, you go right here and eat. Duh. Why you put it way across town, 79th? Make that make some sense. You way on Stony Island. You know how far it is from 73rd and Stony Island all the way on the other side of also on 79th on a Sunday when everybody dressed up and just left the mosque? You should have where they only got to drive like a half a block where they could walk. If it's warm, they'll leave their car with that. They'll walk down to the restaurant and eat. Come on, man, you make a fortune. Keep it separate. See, Elijah was smart. He let brothers, they opened up businesses, but the businesses wasn't a part of the mosque. The businesses wasn't a part of the Nation of Islam. The business was brothers in the Nation of Islam opening their own businesses. Just like if you go to work and you're a bus driver, but then you're a Muslim and you go to the Nation of Islam. Okay, they can't say you can't be a bus driver. They can just say you can't collect money as the Nation of Islam, and it's got to be non-for-profit. But the brothers could have had money and they could have did for-profit work. This is what Elijah was smart. He had the paper selling for non-for-profit, but the brothers had restaurants and fish markets and fruit stands to make money. And then when the brothers would make money, now they can make donations and contributions to the Nation of Islam. And now they doing for themselves. They working for themselves, creating their own revenue and making the area black, because if the brother got a restaurant right here from the Nation of Islam, that I could go right here, I'm a black woman, I can open up a hair salon, another brother can open up a barbershop, and that's how we can build a whole black area. I don't know why they got away from that. They got away from that, and they're preaching too much religion stuff and not in there preaching economics. If you ain't talking economics, you ain't standing on Elijah, period. Now, I got a problem with that. Because everybody knows Elijah Muhammad is my favorite in the whole United States. Elijah Muhammad is number one in the United States with me. So if you ain't standing on Elijah stuff, I'm disappointed. Because there ain't no reason why you didn't bring that to our generation, why our generation get cheated. That's what Elijah kept trying to tell Malcolm. Malcolm was hard-headed. Malcolm just as guilty. He out there getting involved with everything, but he should have just stuck with the business. He should have stuck with the business. He shouldn't have got out there with all them rallies and all that stuff like that and bring all that heat on himself like that. He ain't helped nothing doing that. People just be talking. He didn't do nothing. How he help us? By getting himself hurt. That just show you how selfish we are. And Malcolm went out there and got hurt. You talking about it's a good thing. How that's a good thing. As smart as he was. He the one put the whole final call and the whole play together. He was the money man. Man, I'm telling you, man. Y'all know Malcolm was the money man. You know that, right? Malcolm was the one that showed him how to bring the money in. Malcolm was a genius, man. But he wouldn't focus. He couldn't stay focused on the money. He got focused on other issues, which I understand. You know, he was a militant, but it was a bad choice. He should have listened to Elijah and stayed focused. If Malcolm would have listened to Elijah, then Wallace Dean Malcolm would have took over instead of Wallace Dean, and Wallace Dean ruined everything. You know what I'm saying? And I'm telling y'all the same thing. We got to do some economical development. And any preaching we got to be preaching concerning how we conduct ourselves when we doing business. The only thing that matters for Black Americans is to conduct yourself in a decent way so we can do business together. That's it. You look in the book of Pharaoh, chapter 1, verse 1. Thou shalt get off thy black ass and work together. Thus saith the Lord. That's the only thing, because that's the only thing going to save us. We need to be able to hire ourselves and work for ourselves and bring in some money ourselves. Seriously. And then when we do that, then we be able to work with the Mexicans that's already on that, and we'll blow up. That's one reason it ain't no bond with the Mexicans, because you ain't nobody gonna bond with you if you ain't doing nothing. We got too many boots on the ground. We can't even hire our own sons and daughters. My daughter, when she got out of high school and she waiting over that summer to go to college, she had to work at Portillo's. We didn't let the community fall down so much that if you get a store, they're going to break in it because everybody's starving. So the only way we can have economical value right now, the first economics we would have to have is security. Because we can build security firms, and now we can do security for other companies. And we can take that money, and as we start investing in our area, now we already got security because our people got to be reprogrammed. Because they're going to steal everything you got. Because the streets are starving. Our youth ain't, our little young black men, they not going to go to that school like that. Our schools ain't set up right. If you're gonna have if I had a school and your son came, he's got to come in kindergarten. We ain't doing no preschool, right? When he come in kindergarten, all we doing is physical activity. Kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade, physical. We won't have all that vibes and stuff if we let them boys get that out their system. Physical activity. I'm not going to be here trying to teach them all this stuff in first, second, third grade. I could teach them all that in fourth grade. Everything your child learned from kindergarten to third grade, I could teach them all that in fourth grade in 1 year. Why is we dragging that out? This is a fact. What your children learn from kindergarten to fourth grade to third grade, I could teach them all that in fourth grade. That's an absolute fact. You're just wasting time in there. It do not take that long to learn 1 + 1 = 2. And you don't even need to know 1 + 1 = 2 till you get in the fourth grade. What the hell you need to know 5 + 5 for, and you in the second grade? What you gonna do with it? You know what I'm saying? Democrats ain't took no trade classes out of Southside Chicago. Bro, what you talking about? How old are you, Timothy? How old are you? Who told you that? Where you read that at? The Democrats took it. No. That's what? I asked you, I didn't ask you who took trade. I asked you who told you the Democrats took it out the classes. Who told you that? Like, bro, what is y'all with this Democrat, Republican? Like that That's some new stuff, bro. That's how false information be getting out here. You got to have public school. Ain't nobody at home. How you going to homeschool? Homeschooling is the most ridiculous thing I ever heard. It's ridiculous. Like homeschooling. Who gonna be at home to do the schooling? That'd be sounding crazy. People be saying that too. They be like, we can homeschool. I'm like, yeah, if you ain't got no job, okay, somebody don't have a job. What? What? We can homeschool. Why don't you ask us if we're at home? Like that just sounds. A lady be talking about homeschooling. She at home with beads on and sandals. Living in a dream world. Homeschooling is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Totally ridiculous. Not even practical. Let me give you an example. Chicago rush hour. You know why it's rush hour? Because everybody's going to work or coming home from work. So you telling me these people should be at home homeschooling? I don't know what the hell are we doing. Wait a minute. So all the people in traffic in New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, from 3 to 5:30 in the evening, coming home from work, y'all saying they shouldn't even been at work. They should have been at home homeschooling. Y'all do realize that people go to work. You do realize mail got to be mailed and things got to be done. So who's at home? Make it make some kind of sense. You do know a lot of people are single. You do know a lot of people, they both work so they can make extra money. So I don't know any block where everybody's at home all day to homeschool. So if you say something that everybody on the block can't do, but maybe just one person is, yeah, y'all hit the cash app and all that. Make a donation to the channel. So yeah, this is rush hour. They cannot homeschool. They got to go to work. The crazy thing is, on top of it, the work schedule is not even made out to even help them get to school. When my daughter went to Limblom, I had to take her to school because I work for myself. But think about if I had a job, she got to be at school at 9 and I got to be to work at 9. How? How can she get to school at 9 and I be to work at 9? And when I had to take my daughter to school, I would just see all these young children up early in the morning out here in these dangerous streets on buses to try to get to school, to go to Limblom, to go to school. That's why they had to start having lunch at school, because they used to send you home for lunch, but ain't nobody at home at lunchtime. Everybody went to work. And when I was growing up, all the children would be at home by themselves from 3:30 to 4:30, 5:30. Your mama get home at 5:30. You have to be home 2 hours by yourself. If she lucky, she can find a babysitter, but the babysitter got a job too. Everybody got to work, you know. My father used to try to pick different shifts. So my mother got one shift, he got another shift to kind of help out a little bit, but it was sad watching Savior's Day. It was dry. This guy right here, he's the worst. You know what I'm saying? That's Farrakhan's son. Oh, the one he tried to talk like his daddy and all that, but he ain't got it. And this the whole thing. That's why I wouldn't be in an organization like that because I wouldn't want to be no better minister than this guy. But because you the minister's son, you got the position. The position ain't for who really is the one could do it. It's like some type of royalty or something. So why would I want to be bothered with that? Why would I want to be all this time? I ain't gonna never get no shine because your son gonna be there, and most likely Mustafa gonna take over when you leave. So what am I? You know what I'm saying? And this guy ain't even no good. He just up there because his daddy. He was dry as a bone. He ain't no motivator, and they all got to take stuff from him. Oh, that's Elijah's son. Okay. Well, he ain't no good. I wouldn't care if it was Moses' son. He need to sit down because he ain't no good. He ain't no good. But because he's Elijah's son, he got the clout. And if you say something, he could, they can come down on you. You know how these organizations are. That's why when he was preaching, I was looking at the brothers, how did I seen them hating on him. They was trying to play it off like they didn't hate him, but they was all sitting there like, why I can't preach. He kept looking back at him, trying to preach to him. I'm watching the brothers' body language, eyes, and everything. They got to try to play it off in front of the congregation. They don't even like dude, though. That's Elijah's son, huh? Bean pies. They be out there selling them bean pies, and bean pies don't be refrigerated. Oh, that's Elijah's son. Yo, he horrible. He ain't nothing like his daddy. No, but that's the favoritism over there, though. That's a whole nother strain. But talk about that, the hierarchy and how that works. That's why it's so dry. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna go under though if they don't do something. It was like watching church. I said, "Dang man, this like they turned to a Christian church." It was sad. You know what I'm saying? To me, I kind of felt bad. You know what I'm saying? I said, "Dang man, this is sad. The end of an era." You know what I mean? They got farms in Georgia. They ain't doing nothing with them. We ain't got no stores where they selling out of. They ain't doing nothing. You know what I'm saying? They ain't doing nothing. They ain't got no jobs. They ain't providing no opportunities. You know what I'm saying? They don't use their space right. All that space they got over there, they just ain't really doing nothing. They letting Muslims from other countries come and have gas stations in the black community. Why them Muslims got it? Why the black Muslims ain't got it? Elijah would be going crazy if Elijah seen all them Muslims from other countries overseas got the gas station, but the black African American Muslims don't got the gas station. But you always talking Islam, but you let another Islamic person come in the neighborhood and take all the money. And that's a big difference too, because Elijah wasn't messing with them. He was just dealing with that was the whole thing. And that's another thing. Like Elijah would be pissed at Farrakhan running around behind Gaddafi and all them. Elijah wasn't with that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Nuri ain't on the council. I mean, Mustafa gonna be the next one up. He already ready. You know what I'm saying? Mustafa gonna be the next one up. Wesley ain't got a chance. You know what I'm saying? And maybe Mustafa makes some changes, you know what I'm saying? It all depends on what the economical situation is like. Sometimes things get so bad you just trying to keep the doors open. So he might not be able to do nothing but get whoever they can get in there and try to raise money to keep the place open. But I do know if they don't go back to what Elijah was talking about, they're definitely a collapse because Elijah's message is what built it. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't get away from what built it. You know what I'm saying? It was built on do for self. That's the message that's gonna make people come. See what I'm saying? And see, the big mistake was the Million Man March when he didn't come back with that money and make something active happen in the black community. You know what I'm saying? I ain't thinking economically. I give you an example. Okay, let's say I'm Farrakhan and I have Azim. Azim opened a grocery store. I'm at the mosque. I'm telling everybody, when you leave here, you go to Azim grocery store. That where you go shop at. You know what I'm saying? Then the Freemans, he got a gas station. So when you come, I'm telling everybody, when you leave here, go get your gas with him. Right? So I got the power to make you sell out. I got the power to make you make a lot of money. And so we could build a whole community just right there. Now the people on the outside that ain't Muslims gonna come to the mosque because you're giving good game, and we all gonna come, and then we all gonna get involved in the economical part. Keep the religion, bruh. Bring us the economical stuff. You can lean on the religion when we start being corrupt, if we start cheating each other, start doing something foul, then you go to the religions and say, y'all ain't supposed to be doing nothing foul each other, bam, 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 bam. But we need economics, man. We don't want to hear no more religion. Right now in Chicago, we got a lot of young brothers becoming Muslims. They're not going to stay because they got to eat. You know what I'm saying? You got a big movement like that. See, this the difference between them and Elijah, man. Elijah had it popping here. I'm telling y'all, man. Brothers from the Nation of Islam was getting money. I'm telling you. Brothers was getting money. And we just do, I don't know how we messed that up. Messed it up. Brothers was getting money. I'm telling you. And we just dropped the ball, man. It's sad, you know what I'm saying? It's really sad because Black Americans, we need economical development. Bad. I mean, they was building franchise. Like a lot of people don't know that. But under the guidance of Elijah Muhammad, they was building franchises. You know what I'm saying? When I first was switching over and trying to get off meat, and I had to go to take my steps and go to fish, I used to go to docks. The Nation of Islam started docks. These docks was started by some brothers from the Nation of Islam. That's why they was known for fish. And that's why they had the drink called Omar. All they stuff had Islamic names to it. They ended up all over Chicago. That's one of the few businesses that stayed open. Real talk. That's one of the few businesses. Docks is one of the few businesses that stayed open. And I was born out of the Nation of Islam. Black Muslim brothers ran docks. They used to only have one, and that was the one over there on East 87th Street. And then when you get over there on Stony Island, there was a few Islamic restaurants over there. And I think they even owned that bank that was right there on that corner of 83rd Street under Elijah. If they would have stayed on that, they owned that little food place on 83rd on the other side of the street, right there by Leon's. They had a lot of fruit markets and fruit stands. They were selling final calls left and right. They was making millions off of them final calls because it used to have information in there. We didn't have no social media. So any alternative information, you get the final call and find out what's really going on with us. But slowly, well, first off, when Wallace took over, he lost everything. When Wallace took over. When his son Wallace took over, he destroyed. When Farrakhan came, the roof was leaking at the mosque. He had to raise the money to fix the roof. I remember them talking about that at the time. The mosque was falling apart. 'Cause, I think like Wallace Dean, I think he had like some type of mental issues. I think. But we don't have none of that no more. And it's just like when it comes to business, if somebody gets a spot, it starts a chain. You know what I'm saying? So when you get brothers get businesses, it starts a chain, and then the whole area end up business. That's how you build your community up. You can watch and you'll see people do it all the time. You'll see a business come in there in an area that's kind of slow. And if it's a business that started attracting a lot of traffic, then another business will come, and the area just pop. But yeah, when I first started changing the way I was eating, and I first went vegan, and that's when I had to take the process to slow down, and first get off pork, first get off beef, then get off chicken, and then when I was at the point where I was just doing fish and seafood. Yep, I was going to docks, and they was black Muslims. You understand? They was black Muslims. I didn't get nothing. No, I couldn't listen to that. I could have went to church and listened to that nonsense. I turned it off. He was getting on my nerves. He wasn't talking about nothing. I didn't want to see nobody do no Farrakhan impersonations. I didn't want to hear none of that he was talking about. And Jonah and God said no and all that, bro. What? He wasn't talking about nothing. After the death of Khalid, it was over for the Nation of Islam. No, that's not really true. The Nation of Islam lost everything under Wallace. And so it's just like how we talk about slavery, how they took that stuff from us. And when they take that stuff, the value of that stuff now is ridiculous. So when everything that they built, if they still had it, they'd be on top of the world. So when Wallace lost all that property and lost all that stuff, you can't bounce back from that. So all those years of work up to that, he threw it all in the garbage. And that's why they never been able to get back up on their feet. And then the message was off. See, Khalid was out of line. See, Khalid wasn't no good for the nation. You know what I'm saying? Khalid turned around, did the same stupid stuff Malcolm did. You can't be in a religious organization talking crazy. You can't be talking revolutionary stuff when you're working with a religious organization. So Khalid, he was going too far. You know what I'm saying? He was breaking the rules. He was going too far. Bro, you can't say all that. We are non-for-profit. We got to go through the government. You can't just get up here talking crazy. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, Khalid was talking crazy. You know what I'm saying? Him and Malcolm, they was tripping. They ain't know what they was dealing with. If Malcolm would have listened to Elijah, he wouldn't have got killed like that. I seen when Khalid was talking crazy. I watched that. I watched that when he went to that college and he was talking crazy. I seen it. He was talking crazy. When he should have been working on that high blood pressure that he had. You know, you talking all this mess, but you don't even take care of yourself, bro. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't even taking care of himself. He was over whooping. Don't ever talk revolutionary. You know what I'm saying? Don't ever talk revolutionary. Don't talk, because the other person might start shooting first. And when you just talking, but they going to come shooting. You understand? So he didn't learn. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't no good student of the game. Khalid, that's my man and everything, but he wasn't no good student of the game. You know what I'm saying? He didn't learn from history. So he didn't learn nothing. You know what I mean? Yeah, he didn't learn nothing. He was disappointed. He should have learned from Fred Hampton. Fred used to talk crazy too. But see, them people, when they not talking, they talking after the fact of the matter. You understand? At that time with Malcolm X, I was a kid, so I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I was a little baby, so I don't really know. I was too little. I was too little. I was a little boy. I'm born in 1958. So I ain't know. I had to go study all them. Fred Hampton, Malcolm, MLK. I had to go study them when I got grown. When I got, you know what I'm saying? Okay, see, Fred, he got unalived in 1969. I wasn't nothing but 10 or 11 years old. You know what I'm saying? I know Khalid, that's my generation when I was in my 20s. But Fred and all them, I was a little boy. I was 9, 10, 8, 9, 10. I was like 5 years old when they unalived President Kennedy. I'm at home watching Bozo. They interrupt Bozo. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? He tried to tell Malcolm. Malcolm wouldn't listen. You know what I'm saying? But then he turned this the man that ruined the nation right here. When his father stepped down and he took over, he ruined everything. All that hard work, he threw it all in the garbage. Farrakhan had to come and start from ground zero. This man threw everything away. Everything. This Wallace D. He threw everything his daddy did, he threw it away. And it's like when you get that money back then and you lose it, you can't get it back. You can't get that money back. You just that's why we want reparations, because what they took from us, it don't cost the same much. How much was 40 acres back then? How much would 40 acres be worth now? 40 acres would be worth a lot of money right now. You know what I'm saying? This the man that ruined the nation of Islam right here. Farrakhan came back and tried to do the best he could do. He was trying to figure if he can get it back up, but the cost was different. It's like, I don't know, man, Khalid, he all talk like he knew a lot, but he obviously didn't know nothing, because the main beef with Elijah Muhammad and Malcolm X was the Nation of Islam was doing a majority of their work in the prison system. And Elijah kept telling Malcolm, you're going to get brothers in the prison hurt. Because if they hear you, the guards will go in there and do stuff to them. They in the belly of the beast, so stop talking reckless. So Malcolm messed up, but there's no reason for Khalid. You come and turn around and do the same thing. Y'all can't be talking reckless, because brothers is in the system. Duh. So you can't be talking reckless. You know what I'm saying? They don't know this history, Azim, but this is what was going on. Elijah kept telling Malcolm, you're going to get the brothers hurt. That's why Elijah was just careful with what he said, because brothers, you know what I'm saying? You get your people hurt. Like, you can't go doing all that. Then when he came back talking all crazy, you know what I'm saying? When I got up older and I seen the footage of Malcolm when he came back from Mecca and he was talking all out the side of his neck to Mike Wallace and stuff, I lost a lot of respect for him. I don't really mess with Malcolm like that. And he used to be my number one. But when I seen him coming back from Mecca, talking about they love us and all that, and talking crazy about Elijah, I said, oh, man, yeah. Bro, why is you talking to Mike Wallace? They set him up, man. Put that mic in front of your face, man, and set you up. And he didn't even know the facts. As in, everything he said was wrong. He didn't even know the facts. Then he said Wallace told him all that stuff. Elijah went and got Wallace, said, did you tell Malcolm that? Wallace said no. Because the whole time it was Elijah's son set up Malcolm, because they was jealous of Malcolm, because Elijah treated Malcolm like a son. He was driving Elijah's car and all that, because Malcolm really helped him put the Nation of Islam over the top when he put together the final call. That helped them raise a lot of money. But the sons was jealous, so the sons was doing stuff. That's why they didn't tell Malcolm. Remember, it say Malcolm told them, don't make no statements after Kennedy. Right? Told Moss number 7. They never told Malcolm. That's why Malcolm said the chickens came on the roost, because they never told Malcolm what Elijah told them. Especially that son that ran Moss number 7. He did not like Malcolm at all. And so now we have to learn from Malcolm. Like, we got to be careful what we say. We can't just be talking a whole bunch of rah-rah siskumba. We ain't doing that. Don't talk about it, be about it. We're not doing that. We put our people in danger. Look at Palestine. Just look at it. They made that little move, and look how much they lost. They made that weak attack, came across and did their little attack, their little pat-pat. And look how Israel and them back blew up everything. They made the wrong move. They made the wrong move. You know what I'm saying? Like, all that revolutionary talk and all that, that ain't it. That ain't it. You have to learn. You know what I'm saying? We didn't learn from Malcolm. Then we lost Khalid. We lost everybody, man, that was talking reckless. The Black Panthers, man, they had it going on. All they had to do was do the food programs and the health programs. They would have been straight. No, no. What do? They go all up in the courthouse reckless. Now, a lot of gun rights people say they was the beginning of gun rights, but still, bro. And the brother in the front got unalived. And the brother behind him is the only one still alive. Why you got Shorty? Why you don't got the thing? Why you got Shorty with the thing? Why you don't got it? No, don't nobody like you when you a star like that. Just like today, the way they was looking at dude, nobody liked him that was sitting off to his right. They don't like him. They don't like each other like that. It's just like one of these kingdoms in England or somewhere. It's a power struggle. Power, prestige, women. Who want to be the big? Who's the big man? All type of stuff going in the background. Remember how they released that information about Rizza Islam? They do certain things to make sure you can't, you know what I'm saying? To put you out of contention. You know what I'm saying? So they're going to be struggling. But the only way they can save the Nation of Islam is they got to get on some black economics. That's the only thing can save them. The only thing can save them is black economics. That's the only thing. If they come and start talking black economics, that could save them. That could bring more people to listen to them. But if they just talk about Noah and Jonah and the Quran and all that, nobody ain't gonna want to hear that. I'm gonna be doing an interview tomorrow with JT the Bigger Figure, and they talking about pushing the peace and stuff, and I can't tell the truth, so I'm gonna try to say something to try to help out JT what he trying to push, because I can't go tell the truth. These shorties ain't going for that stuff. You know what I'm saying? He who has the goal makes the rules. You ain't got no goal, you can't make no rules. You got to feed people. You know what I'm saying? You got to feed. You got to feed the wolves. The black man in America, we got to come up with some economical development. We got to come up to a realization that somebody else is feeding us. And what you going to do when they don't want to feed you no more? Because you just don't want to face that somebody else is feeding you. That you got somebody else's car and somebody else's phone and somebody else's laptop. Everything you got is somebody else's. And what's going to happen when they get tired of carrying you? Then what? You the guy, you depending on them to bring the gas and put the gas in the gas station. Then you depending on them so that you can go to the gas station and get the gas. It's crazy. You depending on them for the TV, and you depending on them for the electricity for the TV to come on, and you depending on them for the cable to go into the TV to even watch the TV. Like total control. Like we black people, we got no control. You know what I'm saying? Think about it. And we just taking it for granted. Trying to outdo each other, trying to show your vacation or whatever you bought. But what's gonna happen when all that stops? When times get hard, people gonna take care of their own. They ain't gonna take care of you. You see that top general? See how they just fired him and put somebody in there that's less qualified? They're taking all these black people out of high positions in the military. I ain't saying nothing. I'm gonna just wait. It ain't necessarily mean everything gonna go bad, but it definitely don't mean everything gonna go good. Yeah, the wolf gonna try to eat if we can, but you know all they got to do to the wolf is just make sure it ain't nothing for him to hunt, and if it ain't nothing for him to hunt, he'll starve. So they ain't gotta chase the wolf. They just gotta get rid of the food, and we ain't got no control of the food. We some sitting ducks. If you look at it, if you look at it closely. But yeah, I hope Farrakhan is all right, and it would have been nice to see him, but he probably, ain't in the right condition to be coming out in this weather and doing all that traveling. I think the last Savior's Day, I didn't like him up there then. I felt like he should have had some rest. It seemed like it was too much for him, but he did do a good job. But it's going to be interesting to see the changes that's going to be made because there's about to be some major changes. Somebody's got to step up to leadership. I imagine it's going to be Mustafa. He's already been practicing. I've been watching some of his speeches. He ready. He been standing next to his daddy, shoot, since I first met him. What's crazy is I didn't know who Farrakhan was, and I've been to his house when he lived over there in the South Shore area. Because me and my friends I went to school with, he said he gonna go pick up his friend. That was the first time I met Mustafa. And we went over there, and I remember we drove, and the garage was under the house. And then we went in the house, and we were sitting in the kitchen. And his daddy was in there, but I didn't know who he was. If I would have known who he was, I would have been like a groupie. I'd be like, "Oh, Minister Farrakhan." I didn't know nothing about no Minister Farrakhan. All I know is we're going to pick up Wallace, his friend Wallace, my boyfriend. So it wasn't after till we hung out for a while, and he told me his name was Farrakhan, and he was kept telling me about his daddy and how they was living in Beverly Hills and how they was dealing with some racism and this and that. And one day I was looking at one of these pro-black pamphlets I had at the crib, and it said, Minister, it said Louis Farrakhan. I said, "Oh, this is his daddy." So I went back. I said, "Man, I got some pictures. I got some papers from your daddy." Because I had already been reading all the information. That's one reason me and Wallace kind of talked a lot because I was a radical already. Everybody else was just young, high school. Only only Mustafa and myself, we was the only militants. Mustafa been that though, because he like 2 years younger than me. He been a radical. That's for sure. One thing for sure, if he take over the Nation of Islam, it definitely gonna be some changes. He probably gonna do something with it, cause dude is not no joke. He been like that from a shorty. Cause I was like 1 year out of high school, and he was a junior when I met him, and he was already that. But the one that was around my age was Nut. Rest in peace to Nut. That was my man, but he was just in the streets. Because Wallace was younger than me. So even though we would get around when we all hung out, he was my boy, the young dude I went to high school with that transferred, they was the ones tight. But we was, once you tight with him, we all like family. Still I consider Wallace like family. Like if he had problems, I'm definitely gonna go help him. He can't have no problem because we like childhood friends. The last time I seen him, he was mad. He stormed out my apartment. Last time I seen him on the west side, where I had my oldest daughter with her, that woman, she passed away in a fire. But her apartment on the west side, he came over to holler at me. And when he came in my room, I had my room and I had my stereo and I had all my stereo equipment in the closet. It was slick. So you can close the closet, you wouldn't see my stereo or nothing. I had the speakers outside. And in my closet, I had all these pictures. So I had a picture like Elijah Muhammad and Malcolm X and Fred Hampton and all kind of people, Sun Ra, all kind of people. And he looked, he said, "What is all this?" I was like, "Yeah." He said, "No, he said, you can't mix all this together," he was saying. Of course, he wanted me to be a Muslim, you know what I'm saying? I respect that. But he was a shorty to me, you know what I'm saying? He a shorty, you know what I'm saying? He like, you can't have all this. I said, I already got all this. What you talking about? I'm not picking nothing. I'm not picking no one. He wanted me to pick one thing. That's my man. If I ever get outside and talk to him, we're going to be cracking up. Be like, man, remember you stormed out my crib because I had all them people put up there together? We young. You know what I'm saying? I got everybody up there. I got everybody that's supposed to be a radical. I think I had Ho Chi Minh up there. I had the dude from down there in South America. I don't mess with none of them no more, but I was young. I was probably like 20. I had everybody on there. Everybody I thought was a radical. He was like, this all don't go together, brother. He was an official Muslim by that time. I said, this was a couple years after I first met him. He got mad because I was basically like, I could do what I want to do. I mean, what are you talking about? What I can't do? I can. What you mean? What I can't do? I done already did it. This is where I live. I do what I want to do. What you talking about? The next time I seen him, he was standing up on stage next to his daddy. I was so proud. I was like, look at my man. Yeah. I went to save his day and seen him up there, standing up there with the whole outfit on. I'm like, dang. That's my man. I love that brother, though. It's a bond when you 17, 18, 19, 20, and you friends. That's a bond. Don't never go away as long as you don't do nothing shady. And I end up, leaving. So that's how I got out of touch with everybody. 'Cause I ended up going to California, Hawaii, and all that. But that's still my brother, though, to the end. Wallace a cool brother. He always been very serious. He was very serious. He was very serious as a teenager. He was like very serious dude. Whereas his brother Nut was always getting in trouble. We were saying, Nut, you got to stop getting in trouble. You make your daddy look bad. You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace to Nut. That was my man because we was more the same age. And I would see him up at Northern. My sister went to Northern. My sister went to Northern to college, so I would go up to Northern and mean mug people up at Northern. Because, you know, I had a history of mean mug. My sister a year younger than me, so when she went to uh, Percy L. Julian, and I was still going to Luther South, I would go up to Julian and mean mug the dudes in her grade and stuff. Just so they know that if she has some problems, we'll come back up there. So then when she went to college, I kept that same thing. I had to go up to the college, mean mug everybody. She reintroduced me. This is my brother. This is John. I said, hey, John, don't make me have to come back up here. Mess with my sister. You ain't giving her no hard time. He giving you a hard time, so tell some gangster. No, man. I don't be back up here. I had the Goonie Ghouls with me. You know what I mean? I go up there with 3 dudes up to the college for the homecoming. That's why right now my sister's so comfortable. She real comfortable because she know I call my brother. Still today, she real comfortable moving around. Cause she knows she called me, I'm gonna go get my cousin. We all like brother and sister because my cousin is really like my brother. I'm my real cousin. Yeah, Mustafa is a good brother though. You know what I'm saying? I like to see when he at the head of the Nation of Islam. He gonna make some change because he's young. I know he got ideas. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it was just like that, you know. I was 5, she was 4. I was 6, she was 5. I was 7, she was 6. You know what I'm saying? So that just, you know what I'm saying? My mother was on that. You know, my mother, like, if one of y'all come back here beat up, both of y'all better come back here beat up, or the other person better be beat up. So that's how we was raised. You know what I'm saying? And I'm the oldest, so I got to take care of my sister. You know, we used to have to take the bus all the way from 116th all the way to 87 to the Lutheran school. So I had to, you know what I mean? Make sure she's sitting on the inside, I'm on the outside. And make sure nobody be talking crazy to her. And make sure she don't, because, you know, she used to be staring at people too much. And I had to tell her, stop staring at them. You can't be staring at these people. Look out the window, mind your business. We didn't have no lot of problems because everybody was kind of cool back then, though. I was just a little overprotective. But I only had to go like a couple at first, and I didn't have to go. I didn't never go back up there no more after the first 2 or 3 months of her freshman year. I didn't have to go back up there. But then I wasn't here to go up there. I was gone. But she married a nice husband. He protected her. I ain't really gonna go out. The person gonna go out. I ain't. They're gonna be simple. I ain't. It's gonna be simple. About my children. No, nobody yet messed with my children yet that I know of. I mean, when I lived in O Block, I had to go out one time. But nah, I haven't had no problems with my children yet. My sons, they ain't gonna have no problems. They good. My daughters, I ain't had no problems yet. My oldest daughter, when she was like teenagers, and she was living with my parents in my old neighborhood, she had some problems with some girls on May Street one time. They wanted to jump her and all this. So I went on May Street trying to find out where the girls live. I ran into my boy, Harold Vassar. I'm like, what up, Harold? He's like, what up, Stu? What you on? Like, man, I'm over here looking for these girls, so and so, so and so, so and so. He's like, what they do, bro? Man, they over there trying to jump on my daughter. He called the girls. They was his daughters or nieces, so he called them. Oh, y'all come out here. They came out. Y'all over there messing with her? Yeah. Man, that's Stu daughter, man. Y'all tripping, man. Y'all out here messing with people that we know. Y'all leave these people alone. We all grew up together out here. You can't fight nobody. He told him, you can't fight nobody out here because everybody's my friends' kids. You know what I said? What you tell them? Y'all beating up your daddy's friends' kids. The what? So I went back and told my daughter, that's Harold's kids. She's like, dang, dad, you know everybody. I said, girl, listen, just stay out of mess. Rather than that, no, I ain't had to. I teach my children to keep their mouth shut and stay out of problems. But anybody had any contact with me, they're under my protection. All my ex-wives, if they have a problem, it's gonna be a problem because that's my kid's mama. You know what I'm saying? So they can't have no problem. I can't let nothing happen to their mama. That's crazy. But yeah, I wish the best for the nation of Islam. I don't know what they're gonna do. They're gonna have to restructure, but they're definitely gonna have to change their message. That religious message is not going to work. It's just not. They'll always be able to make money though. I was gonna go over to the one in Arizona, but I didn't have time. They're still getting money. They still got a following. But I just think that they should be, as a non for profit, they can't open businesses, but still as a non for profit, they can encourage their uh, people that's in it to go into business, and then they can support those businesses. So they really do need to be in business in the community. Brothers from the Nation of Islam, so that they can really push what Elijah was trying to push. It's a shame, man. Elijah gave us a formula, and it's just somebody just lost the formula, which is just crazy to me. It's just like it seemed like intentional sabotage because Elijah gave us the whole formula. And obviously this formula worked because he surpassed Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey organization is doing nothing. Nation of Islam's almost here 100 years. You know what I'm saying? No, I don't think he's feeling that good, Dre. He really he probably can't do it no more. He 91. Yeah, he's 91 years old. He can't. He can't do that no more. Jesse Jackson, 83. Farrakhan older than Jesse. Khadijah Farrakhan is 89. Al Sharpton only 70. Farrakhan 21 years older than Al. You know what I'm saying? That's my man, though. I got love for Minister Farrakhan, though. You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah. When he took over, you figure if I'm like 22, 32, 42, 52, 62, right? So like he was already like 40 something, almost 50, 40, 40, 50. Something like that when he took over, like in his 40s, which was still is young. You know what I mean? The brothers back then, if you 40, 45, you was still real young. They living to 100, 90, 100, 110. So that was still considered young back then. 40, 40, 45 was still considered young. Just nowadays, I don't know. They think everything is old. But back then, if you was 40, 45, back then, by the time your children get out of high school, you was still young. You 45, shoot, you got another 40 years, 45 years for you 90. That's a long time. 40 just seem a lot when you talk from being born to 40. But when you talk about being grown from 20 to 40, that's only 20 years. You only been grown 20 years. When typically you're going to be grown 70, 80 years. But that's what it is. We're going to have to watch the situation because they definitely got to restructure. I expect a new leader pretty soon. I don't think Farrakhan will ever be speaking no more, probably. Last time he was very weak. He was barely able to stand up there. A lot of times they push him around in a wheelchair, so he might not even be able to stand up that good. It don't look like he had his eating habits all the way where they should have been. Don't look like it, but I can't say for sure. But he did look like he had a lot of weight on him like 10 years ago. But then again, they did try to, he said that they tried to assassinate him. Remember when he got real sick? So his stomach might be just, he might, who knows what they did to save him. But he did good. That's still my man. He did a good job. He did the best he could, probably. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you have a opinion about somebody, but you feel I'm on the outside looking in. If I talk to him, it probably all makes sense. Because I would ask myself, why you was in the Christian church so much, and why you went so Christiany, and I bet you'd tell me something that might make sense. He might have had to do that. He might have had to get more parishioners some type of way. Who knows? But I'm sure he didn't just do it for nothing. It's something that he had to do. Some kind of way he was trying to pivot. But they're a staple in the community, though. You know what I mean? So salute to them. Assalamu alaikum to all you brothers and sisters out there that's Muslims. Most respect to y'all, you know. But I still think that the religions is just as bad as the gangs. We can't get the gangs to unite because they different gangs, and we can't get the religions to unite because they different religions, and we just can't get black people to be black and get nothing done. You always put your gang or your religion or what political party, you always put that in front of blackness. Why? I don't know. Because it don't matter who you put in office. If you ain't got no unity, you ain't gonna get nothing. You gonna still need unity. Real talk. No matter who you put in office, you gonna still need unity. When we learn that, y'all, we'll be straight. Support the channel, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. You know the deal.